have to adjust. This is some serious business here. YouTube, I'm Taylor. Welcome back to my channel. This is my weekly comic book review show. It's where I review all these comics that I bought this week, and I let you know what I thought of them. I go from the worst to the best, and you know what? Today was one of those weeks. But doesn't make sense. This week was one of those weeks. Yeah, that's better English, right? Possibly, a little bit. Anyways, it was one of those weeks where there's nothing horrible, which is great. There's nothing great, which is horrible. Maybe, I guess. Let's get going. Oh, yeah. This is for the week of February 24th, 2021. I keep forgetting to say that, and, I apologize. But we're going to get into it, and we'll see how this goes. So this is the first book. It's a Marvel Legacy Voices #1. There's nothing horrible about this. They're very short stories in here, fairly positive messages, and, there's a couple that are okay. It's just, there's just nothing that really stood out to me as far as like great storytelling or anything like that. I might be biased. I don't tend to like the 1 or 2 page story comics. I think they're very hard to pull off effectively. And I think the ones that are in here, they tried. I just don't think they quite nailed it. So there you go. Marvel Legacy Voices #1. This is one of the variant covers. All right. DC's Future State. And if you've been watching it all, I don't tend to love most of the Future State. What is this one even called? Oh, yeah. The House of L #1. Again, this wasn't bad. This was, Superman's family-ish, like distant relations of Superman in the far future. Pardon me, I have to do that to my face because I'm a pro and I do that while I'm on camera. Again, there's just nothing great about this. There's some sort of muddled fight scenes. It's a one-shot, and it introduces some new characters that are probably not going to be anything, to be honest. There's, one of the relations is a Blue Lantern. There's a couple distant relatives. I can't tell you the names to save the, for the life of me. There's all L, like Can L, Randall L, Jordan L. No, none of that's right. I don't know. It was fine. All right, the Union #3. This miniseries I thought started off fairly strong. I didn't actually realize it was a miniseries, but I looked at the solicitations, and it's apparently like 3 of 5. I think having to get shoehorned into the King of Black hurt it a bit with this, and they're trying to recover from it. There's a couple interesting characters, but this is the weakest of the issues. It didn't feel like it really went anywhere. It's trying to have some like sinister government backing kind of stuff in here. Doesn't pull it off quite as well as some other titles have. So again, not horrible, just nothing great. The next Batman, this one technically came out last week, I think. This is what? Next Batman, I can't even... #4, part 4. The main story of this is decent. This wraps up the story of the next Batman. What's it? Tim Fox? Sorry, spoilers. If you haven't read it by now, whoops. And then the B story was okay, but the C story just lost me. It's just not a very good comic. And, yeah, so... And you're paying, what, $8 for this, so for 2/3 of it to be decent, or 1/3 to be good, 1/3 to be and 1/3 to be I don't know. Use your own judgment. All right, Harley Quinn, the black... Words, people, words. Stick with me. Batman White Knight presents Harley Quinn #5. See, that's the... DC's titles, they honestly, just call it Harley Quinn's weirdo, wacky, alternate universe #5. Much easier to say, right? Katana Collins and Sean Murphy are the writers. This is sort of continuing it is definitely continuing the stuff that's been built up this far. A little more backstory on Harley, a little more action, some consequences to some actions in this issue. Mateo Scalera's art is on point as always, and the coloring is great. It's just kind of the series thus far, again, this is kind of the weakest of the issues. Not that that's a bad thing. This is still a decent book and probably worth picking up, or at least worth picking up in the trade when it's done. But, yeah, of the story thus far, this was my least favorite issue. Speaking of, Kaiju Score #4, this wraps up this book that might have a different, separate volume down the line. I kind of doubt it. I thought Aftershock normally did 5-issue comics. That might be some other company. I can't keep track. There's so many indie comic companies out there that all have, in my head, similar looking logos and names and everything, and I apologize. But anyways, this wraps up Kaiju Store, which is like a bank heist where there's basically Godzilla fighting monsters in the background. Not really Godzilla for trademark reasons, but Japanese kaiju. It was decent. It had a decent resolution. It's just not brilliant. And like there were moments of brilliance in the first 3 issues of this, and I was hoping it would stick the landing and have just a like phenomenal twist at the end, or like a really clever way of wrapping it up. It had an okay way of wrapping it up and an okay ending, and it did resolve some stuff. It's just I was hoping for a little bit more out of this. Future State Aquaman #2. Aquaman's barely in this one. This is more about Aqualass, Aqua Lady, Aqua Lung. I can't remember her name. Mara. Is this Mara Jade? Again, I'm not up on my Aqua family. I apologize. This is the story. Okay, hang on. This guy. Wait. Nope. This guy. This guy was the issue #1. That's Aquaman. And she's the focus of this issue, and it's okay. It's good. It's like a training montage for a full issue, kind of, with voices calling her bad in the background. So take that for what it is. X-Men, I swear X-Men was out last week too, but X-Men #18. This is a flashback in time where these 3 X-Men, so Wolverine, Darwin, and Sync, I think. I don't know. I'm not up on some of these CD list X-Men characters either. They all kind of were created when I wasn't reading the title. Anyways, this is Osrar and Hickman. Hickman's writing, Osrar on the art, and art's fine. The story is a little Hickman-y convoluted, which I'm okay with. I'm glad to get back to a little bit of the Hickman convolution. This is sort of back in time dealing with the Vault, which I can't remember. I think that was something introduced in Grant Morrison's run. Maybe I can't. I honestly, and there's so much like history that Hickman's tying into, and the X-Men history is such a convoluted mess to begin with that I can't always keep track. And this is one of those where I can't really keep track, and it was okay, I guess. Yeah. Stray Dogs #1. This is a cutesy little Disney story, kind of, except there might or might not be a sinister story about how this dog came to live with a bunch of other dogs. This is an interesting take on things. I don't want to spoil this one a whole lot, but if you want like a weirdo, like kind of Disney-esque illustrations with like what has the possibility of being a very kind of dark and sinister actual story, this might be worth picking up for you. That's kind of all I want to say about this. Also, good luck keeping this cover in good shape. It's black and red, and they're always a nightmare. Okay, Department of Truth #6. I love this cover. It's probably my one of my favorite covers of the series thus far. This is a background story of Lee Harvey Oswald, kind of, and it's a filler issue, and you can sort of not a filler, but it fills in some backgroundy stuff on the history of the Department of Truth, possibly, or the people on the other side. Not really sure. Tynan is playing some things close to the vest on this one in the details of like what side things are on and how it all shakes out. But there's a different artist on this one, and I think that's why this issue is coming out now, and why like Charedia, I can't remember her first name, I think Elsa, but I could be wrong. Why this is here? I think the main artist was falling behind or something, is my guess, and needed a break. So there's this tale of other things that probably relate to the main plot or relate to the overarching theme of the Department of Truth, but aren't necessary to the A plot. So, yeah, there you go. Okay. Two Moons. This is John Arcudi. Hang on, I got it. John Giordano on art and Stewart on coloring, I believe, or lettering, whatever. Civil War, Native American character. Interesting start. I will give this one another couple issues. I was hoping for a little bit more in this issue. I think that Arcudi, and he said this in the back of the book without getting a whole lot of spoilers, is trying to be accurate as possible to like life during Civil War times, which might be hampering the tale a little bit, possibly, but it's still an interesting setup to something, and it's a kind of it's an era that's not touched on a lot in comics, and this treatment's while having some horror elements, which Arcudi kind of does, and he's done in Hellboy, it's not your typical kind of like treatment of like stereotypical Native American characters and or stereotypical what you'd expect out of the horror. It's an interesting one. Again, it's decent. It's just not fantastic yet. It might be. Might get there. I Breathe the Body #2. This is a wacky ass book. Zach Thompson's a wacky ass writer. He wrote Lonely Receiver, and that was wacky. And this is wacky. It's social media and body gore and the infatuation of the public and all that kind of wrapped up in a sort of convoluted story that's also involves like mental health and suicide and other. I don't know. It's a tough book. Very interesting. Very tough. I probably need to go back and read issue #1 and then this issue, or at least maybe wait until this is all over and then reread it to fully get what exactly is going on. Yeah, it's a hard one, but it's at least trying things and stuff. I don't know if it's going to stick everything, but it's trying. All right. Okay, the Scumbag #5. This is wrapping up wrapping up the first arc. Possibly, maybe there's one more after this. I don't know. Everything's sort of semi-contained in Scumbag, and it's a fun romp. Scumbag sort of gets a soul, maybe, or does he? Or maybe doesn't. He doesn't. I don't know. That's the whole sort of fun gist of the story is whether or not the worst human on the world will do the right thing eventually, or will always just be a drug-loving scumbag that's in it for money and sex and love, all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of fun. It's twisted. This one's probably the one actually the least twisted thus far of the issues, but it's still a fun romp. Okay, Post Americana #3. This is Steve Scroce, and Steve Scroce's doing the heavy lifting on this, and Dave Stewart's in there as well. I like the cover. Very exposition heavy story. You get a lot of background as far as why the post-apocalyptic world is the way it is in this issue, and it's okay. It's just kind of like it's an info dump for a lot of this. And it does progress things a bit, but I was hoping for more of the same kind of fun action romp that the first two have been. And this, while there's touches of that in here, it's just not quite as much as there was in the first few. I'm still gonna keep this going, but just be aware you're in for like I said, an info dump with this issue. Okay, we're getting there. We got 2 more left. 3 more. So we're getting to the sort of more fun cream of the crop. Fun cream. Yeah, never mind that. Crossover #4. This is a Madman or Frank Einstein. Mike Allred's creation, obviously, is featured in this issue. This is one of the more action-packed issues of Crossover. It's starting to sort of pick up. I don't know if it's a miniseries. I don't think so. I think this one's going to be going for a bit, but I could be wrong. It's a lot of fun. And if you like Frank Einstein as a character or Madman, it's been a long time since I read Madman, but there's a couple pages in here I'm like, heck yeah, he is a badass character. And Donny Cates, I think, also really enjoys Madman as a character and enjoys writing him. There's also a homage to Doctor Strange, who's kind of a tripped-out druggie, or appears that way, hippie-ish drug user, like 60s guy in here. And there's a few other things. He's playing a lot with stereotypes and, like, touching on, like, the symbols of heroism and stuff. And it's still not quite as action-oriented as I think a lot of people were hoping, but it's getting there. Dead Edkins, A Suburban Job #2. This is a really good issue. It's not great, but it's good. And the bag is making it look more beat up than it is. My copy's actually pretty clean. It's sorrow and loss and money and a gang, and it still manages to like have a fair amount of action in it. If you can find this one, pick it up, or wait till the trade and pick it up. It's Steve Gogol, I can't remember his first name. I keep wanting to call it Steve. That's probably not right. And I can't remember the artist. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. Kvitikin? Yeah, okay. I apologize. But I don't want to get a whole lot into this without spoil, because I think it'll spoil it if I do. There's a bag of money and consequences. That's probably about as much as I can say without spoiling a whole lot. All right, Nuclear Family is my favorite book of the week. It's also probably my favorite cover of the week. It kind of lines up that way. I mean, I just love that kind of creepy-ishness, paranoia. And this cover kind of ties into what the feeling of the book. It's in a post-World War II America. There's this optimism, but still this sense of, like, we're going to be invaded by the commies in Russia, and yeah, this issue ties into that. And again, I don't want to spoil this one a whole lot. It's a sort of a slow burn, but when it starts burning, boy, does it burn. And I'm looking forward to reading where this goes. It's Stephanie Phillips on the story and Tony Chastain on the art. It's my favorite book of the week because it's it's gonna have to do some work to really stick the premise and to like the next issue is gonna tell you a lot, I think, or as far as whether or not this will be successful. But this first issue had a lot of nice setup and a lot going for it, and I like the art quite a bit, and I like the slow paced like storytelling in it. There's a family life and relationships and used car salesmen and communist Russia. So there you have it, guys. That is my stack of books this week. I've kind of been avoiding some of the Future State stuff, and it was a Future State heavy week, so I picked up a few of them. I didn't get all of them, and I didn't get the Generations Reborn. I don't know, whatever. DC's exhausting me, so I didn't pick them all up. I also, if you watch one of my earlier videos this week, I did a longer review of Something That's Killing the Children, Volume 1. You have until next week, Tuesday, to watch that review, follow the instructions, and if you want to win that trade paperback, watch that vid. And I'm probably going to try and do more reviews on this channel that are a little bit longer form, where I review volumes of trade paperbacks or complete graphic novel stories, things like that. I know they're my least watched videos, but I enjoy doing them, and I started this channel to do some stuff that I enjoy, and so there you have it. All right, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. As always, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you like this stuff. You can buy some merch if you want. I have merch up on taylorwinder.com. I'm actually not wearing any of my merch today. I'm merch free because sometimes you have to do laundry. All right, yeah, that's enough of this one.